What up, y'all? It's your boy Denim Jeans back at it again with another video. It's been a while. But we're back on that grind, back on that daily grind. I promise this time, at least for the next 2 days. But in this video, we're gonna be talking about the Eastern Conference teams and what they did in free agency. It's been the craziest free agency, as I'm sure you've seen in many other videos. If you're watching me, then you probably watched King of the Fourth Quarter or Mike Korzemba or Kenny 2K, people like them, maybe Oprah side. But this has been the craziest free agency, at least that I've ever seen, and probably that we have all ever seen since we've been watching the NBA. And you got superstars upon superstars going crazy, going to any which teams. Now we start the era of the superstar duo. Most teams that we consider to be contending teams next year have a superstar duo, you know, a Kyrie, Kevin Durant, a Kawhi Leonard, and a Paul George, things like that. But for this video, we're going to go over what every team did during free agency and grade them based on how they did. We're going to go in order of the seeds from last year. This video is the Eastern Conference, and the next video I'm going to do the Western Conference. So we're going to start at the top of the East with the Bucks, see what they did in this free agency, and go all the way down the list to the slums of the East with like the Bulls. So starting with the Bucks, they did well, I think, this offseason. They brought back Chris Middleton, which was huge. They brought back Brook Lopez and George Hill, which is vital for them because now they have shooters still around Giannis. They can still spread the floor. Brook Lopez can still run the 5 position and stretch the 4 from the center position. George Hill, quality backup point guard for them. Outside of that, they signed Robin Lopez, so Brook Lopez and Robin Lopez back on the same team together. That's going to be fun to watch. They brought in Wesley Matthews, and they brought in Giannis' brother, too, to the program, to the organization, Thanasis Antetokounmpo. A big loss for them, though, was Malcolm Brogdon in free agency. They lost him to the Pacers, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And that's a huge loss for them. He brought the two-way ability for them, the 3-and-D that you need, part of the 50-40-90 club. That's going to be a huge loss for them. They'll probably take a little bit of a step back. They try to replace him a little bit with Wesley Matthews. Try to plug that hole in because Wesley Matthews is known as being a 3-and-D guy as well. But he's not going to do it, probably not going to do as well as Malcolm Brogdon was able to do it for them. So I give them a B. I give them a B because they brought back their all-star in Chris Middleton, which was huge, but they did lose a high-quality starter for them who helped them to the best record in the league last year, and Malcolm Brogdon. The Raptors, coming off a championship, they lose their best player. We've never seen anything like it. No one has ever won Finals MVP for a team and then left that team the next season until now. So obviously that's a big blow to their team right now. Kyle Lowry, or some would say probably Pascal Siakam, is their best player. I don't think either of them are capable of leading a team to a championship. But, they got their championship last year. Now they're going to take a step back, which is fine. Toronto Raptor fans, you guys should be happy. You guys should take it and be grateful for what you had because next year is not going to be as great. I give them a C+. They signed a EuroLeague guard, drafted Dewan Hernandez, but they're not going to be able to do much next season except get their young players just a little bit better, in Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, and the like. Next up is the 76ers, who I think low-key had one of the best off seasons out of all the teams in the league. They brought in Al Horford on a 4-year, $109 million deal. Too much money, but it's fine if they can win a championship. It doesn't matter how much they spend on him. They brought in the only player that's been shown to consistently stop Joel Embiid. The 76ers were 3-10 against the Celtics team when Horford was playing against Embiid. He shut him down in the playoffs. They also re-signed Tobias Harris for too much money, 5-year, $180 million. But then again, if they win a championship, none of that matters. Nobody cares. Championships are forever. You can never take it away from them. They, obviously, in the biggest news for this team, they lost Jimmy Butler, but they got something back for him. They traded him for Josh Richardson, who's not as good as Butler. I'm not saying it's necessarily an equal or fair trade, but he does come in as an already quality starter in this league. And they're going to feel the loss of Jimmy Butler a little bit, but They're going to get back some of the defense that they lose from him in Al Horford and get back some of the offense that they got from him in Josh Richardson. So, well, it wasn't the most ideal trade for the 76ers. They did at least get a quality NBA starter out of it, and they were able to bring in Horford for the defense. So they got a couple of draft picks, Matisse Thybulle, who might turn out to be something. We'll have to wait and see. And then Mariel Shayok. We'll see how they turn out. You never know. You can only predict. But they may turn out to be quality role players for them this season. And if not, send them to the G League, let them get a little bit better, and then bring them back, and they can be role players next year. So I give them a B for those moves that they made this offseason. Next up is the Celtics. One of the most major things happening in this offseason, Kyrie Irving leaving the Celtics, headed to the Nets. But they brought in Kemba Walker on a 4-year Supermax. And if you guys actually look at the stats between Kemba Walker and Kyrie Irving, they're both all NBA this year. They both averaged similar stats last year as well. Obviously, Kyrie's team was a little bit more successful making the playoffs and winning the first round to lose in the second round to the Bucks. And the Hornets didn't make the playoffs, but the Hornets have nobody. Their second best player was Jeremy Lamb. So you're not losing too much of the point guard spot bringing in Kemba Walker for Kyrie. You're pretty much just swapping their stats if you go look it up on Basketball Reference. They signed Enes Kanter, who's going to be a high-quality center to come in and replace what they lost in Al Horford. He'll give you, a double-double a game, about maybe 15 points per game, about 9, 10 rebounds, and it'll be good for them. One of the big things, though, for them, they brought back Dyson Wanamaker, man. No, they'll be decent role players off the bench. Dice has proven himself to be a decent backup power forward center, and Wanamaker is yet to be seen what he can really do, but he should be okay to get some rotational minutes. They brought in a haul in this draft class. They still have all those picks they got from the Nets in that Paul Pierce trade, Kevin Garnett trade a long time ago. They drafted Romeo Langford, who's one of the best prospects in the draft. Grant Williams, who played for Tennessee, was an amazing player for that organization. Tremont Waters and Carson Edwards, who were bona fide buckets in college. Doesn't always translate to the NBA, but we'll see how that goes. And then, of course, my man's Taco Fall. Taco Fall to the Celtics has been balling out in the Summer League along with Carson Edwards. So I'm excited to see what they can do. I'm excited to see if they make the roster, the active roster for this team, or if they end up in the G League. Either way, I'll be watching their progress to see what they do. So I give them a B for replacing Kyrie with a similar player in Kemba Walker, and then signing Enes Kanter to fill in that void of Al Horford. The Pacers. They did well. They took a blow when they lost Darren Collison to out of nowhere retirement, but they brought in Malcolm Brogdon, who can replace him at the point guard position. They brought in Jeremy Lamb, who can also hoop a little bit. He was the second best player on the Hornets. He's not a bad player. He shouldn't be a second option, but now he won't be for the Pacers. He'll be like third option behind. Excuse me. They got Victor Oladipo, obviously, and then they have Malcolm Brogdon as well. As well as the emergence, of Miles Turner and Domantas Sabonis. So they've got people to take the pressure off of Lamb having to be the second best player. He can fall into the rotation, be a 3-and-D type of guy for them. They drafted a Goga Bitadze. I don't know how well or how good he is, but we'll see. I give the Pacers a B+ for their free agency moves. They brought in a quality point guard to replace Derek Collison for retirement, and a good rotational player, good role player in Jeremy Lamb, who could even start for your program because he's been starting for the Hornets the past couple of years. The Nets. Kyrie and KD. A+. A. I'll give him an A, not an A+. Obviously, you get Kyrie. We'll have to see what he can do as being the best player on the team for the Nets. It didn't work out that well for the Celtics. We'll see how it goes for him being the best player on the Nets. When Kevin Durant comes back after missing all of next season, comes back in 2021, then we'll see really what the Nets can do. Hope Kevin Durant can come back to near what he was before the injury. You don't really see it that often. I heard last time someone came back to near All-Star or to near the level that they were at was Dominique Wilkins. We'll see with Kevin Durant, though. He's a once-in-a-generation talent. I think he'll be okay. They lost D'Angelo Russell. That's okay when you replace him with Kyrie Irving, in my opinion. Obviously, D'Angelo Russell fit with the team a little bit better because he had time to gain chemistry with them. But I think Kyrie is going to come in, do what he does, and they'll be a playoff team. They're not going to win a championship until I think Kevin Durant comes back. But those are two huge free agent signings for this program. even if they have to give Kevin Durant the max, which they didn't because he took away some money so they could bring in DeAndre Jordan, which is another big signing. I like to see who's going to start between between Jared Allen and DeAndre Jordan. I would say DeAndre Jordan probably is going to come off the bench if it was me. But I give him an A for bringing in 2 superstars to their organization. And these last few teams, they didn't really do much this offseason besides the Heat, but I'm going to keep going in order. The Magic, I give them a C-. They signed Vucevic to a max deal, which is dumb. Yes, he helped them get to the playoffs. Yes, he's an all-star player, but he's not going to help you guys win a championship. And spending all that money to bring him back, it depends on what you're going to do to bring people around him. But you re-sign Terrence Ross, you re-sign Mark Carter Williams, and you pick up Al-Farouq Aminu. That's not going to help you do anything more than what you did this year. If your goal is to just try to sneak into the playoffs for the 8 seed, you did it. You did well. You might be an 8 seed in the playoffs and then get kicked out. But if your goal was to win a round in the playoffs or win a round or 2, you're probably not going to do that. They drafted Chuma Okeke from the Auburn Tigers. Tore his ACL in the Sweet 16 of the March Madness tournament. Sucked. They still made it to the finals or the championship, or the Final Four. Sorry, they didn't make it to the championship. That was Virginia versus Texas Tech. But they made it to the Final Four without him, which I predicted. I predicted them to make it to the championship, which they were just a little bit short. But I wanted UVA to win because I'm from Virginia, if you didn't know. So go Hoos. Go Hoos. Kyle Guy, national champion. Yeah, I give them a C-. They didn't do anything. They tied up money in Vucevic and didn't bring anybody around him. Next is the Pistons. They pick up Markieff Morris and Derrick Rose. 2 really good players in the NBA. We'll see if Derrick Rose ends up starting for them. Might be, maybe not. They signed Tim Frazier to a veterans minimum. They drafted Sekou Doumbouya. So we'll see how he turns out for them. He could be really, really good, but he also could be really, really bad. You never know with draft picks. Anybody could be good, and anybody could be a bust. So I don't like to put too much stock to who they draft, but we'll see how he turns out. The Pistons aren't going to be that much better than they were last year. We'll see what happens if Blake Griffin can stay healthy. Then they can do a little bit better than they did last year. Maybe take a game or 2 in the first round, but that's probably about it. So I give them a C. Hornets, D-. You lose Kemba. Should have traded him a long time ago when he had some value to him. He still has value to him, but now he's not under your contract. He can leave, and he did. You signed Terry Rozier, though, to replace him, which is great, for $58 million. You drafted P.J. Washington, who might turn out to be something. You never know with draft picks, like I just said. So, D-. You lose the best player in your history. Voice crack. You should have traded him when you had the chance, and now you don't. And now he's gone, and you got Terry Rozier for too much money. Miami Heat, B. They got Jimmy Butler. They got rid of Hassan Whiteside's terrible contract, bringing Myers Leonard and Mo Harkless, some 2 established players. Or at least Mo Harkless is a little bit of established role player. Myers Leonard still young, still can grow. Bam is finally going to get his starting minutes so he can be able to grow. And they drafted Tyler Herro, who's balling, going up for 30+, 25+ in the Summer League. So he's got a shot on him. You can bring in Jimmy Butler, one of the best two-way defenders or two-way players in the league. You should make the playoffs again. But we'll see how far you can go. With Jimmy Butler as your best player, probably not very far. But he's getting his bag, though. He got his 4-year, $140 million. So, fuck it. And the Wizards, my favorite team, give us a C+. Kept Thomas Bryant. He's going to get his starting minutes because we traded Dwight Howard, brought in C.J. Miles. So Thomas Bryant's going to get a little bit better. Brought in Isaiah Thomas to replace John Wall while he's out all of next year. And we brought in Ish Smith to run that little some backup minutes for him. We drafted Rui Hachimura, who's probably going to get some starting minutes at the power forward position. So he'll develop along with Thomas Bryant. Maybe be a big 2 duo down there. We didn't really do all that much. Bradley Beal's still around. Didn't trade him, thankfully, because I don't think that we could have got a good amount for him, but maybe not enough for what we need. He's our only really trade asset that we have as a player. So I'm glad we kept him. Glad to see what he can do for us next year. I hope we don't waste too much of his prime. and that John Wall can come back healthy and at the same level that he was before. I doubt it. He'll be rusty instead of horrible injury, but we'll see. Let me know what you guys think about what the teams did for the Eastern Conference in their free agency trades. Tomorrow I'll be back with the Western Conference and what they did with their trades. Or not their trades. Well, yes, their trades, but like the free agency in general for each team in the Western Conference. But that's all I got for you guys now. See you tomorrow. Peace.